Oh no!
Hey guys, welcome back to another new video. We're doing karting again, going down to Power Kart Raceway. So that should be a whole bunch of fun in itself, but they've got a new circuit now, and this is like the first time they've opened up since the whole situation has gone on. And it's good to see Australia's starting to get back to normality. So within hours of them opening, we're jumping straight into the karts to find out what this new track's like to drive. We should have a good shot at trying to set the lap record. If we don't, hopefully it's one of our friends that do set the lap record. So yeah, brand new track. Hopefully there's no dirty side of the track. Obviously it hasn't been used before. So in previous history, like when we've gone there in the past, there was like a dirty side of the track where the racing line would normally be on most tracks. So we couldn't exactly use the racing line because there wasn't enough grip there. So this time it should be completely new, fresh circuit. So no dirty sides. We can use whatever racing line we want, but there won't be much grip at all anywhere because there's no like rubber laid down from any drivers. So it'll be a very experimental, pioneering sort of video, learning the track for the first time, and should be a whole bunch of fun with the boys.
So we've arrived at the circuit. This is footage from after our races, but I thought it'd be a good look at what the circuit first looks like with people going around it. And as you can see, they've repainted the insides of the barriers green, so that looks pretty cool. And they've also changed the entire barrier themselves. So they've got like these spring mechanisms on the outside of each barrier, and the barriers are a lot shorter, look very much more purposely made. So it looks quite nice at the moment. But we're about to jump into our first ever race now, so we're putting on the gloves. Got our new racing boots on since I got roasted for wearing dirty sneakers last time. So we got some new proper racing shoes on, and just set up the GoPro, and we are getting ready to go. So once again, this is completely new circuit to me. Have no prior experience to driving this layout because they've changed it since we've last been here. This is the first time they've opened up since the whole situation, so if you want to check out the new circuit, they are open currently as of recording this, and I'm just so keen to get back into racing again. It feels like forever. As soon as they opened up, I was straight in the kart again, and I think I'm gonna buy a real go-kart, like private kart soon, to explore some other tracks and get my feet into motorsports as well. So yeah, I'm just totally excited to be back racing again with the friends, and we're just gonna ignore that. Back to racing again. Kind of glad I avoided that barrier, but anyways, we're learning the circuit for the first time. First impressions are like I don't really understand fully the concept of like the racing line at this track yet, so what I'm trying to get like is just a feel for the kart and the grip levels in some of the corners. It feels very on and off with the grip because you cross over the previous racing lines from the old circuit, and then all of a sudden you go off the racing line off the old circuit onto the new racing line, and because there's no grip there, no rubber laid down, you just lose grip all of a sudden. So it was a very, very challenging experience for me, being you know, completely new to the circuit as well, not just the total inconsistencies in grip as well. And I'm not sure if we were the first race of the day, first time driving the circuit of the day, but I didn't see any races happen before us, so we were definitely early on, I guess, if not the first people to try out this new circuit. And it was just the three of us, and the guys in front managed to bolt ahead, so I had no one really for reference to copy their racing line, especially Zach. So Zach works here, and apparently because he works here, his lap times doesn't get set on the public leaderboard, so it doesn't matter what lap time he sets, even though he's incredibly fast in comparison to us at this point at least. He also does private kart racing as well, so he's got a real knack for go-karting, but so we don't really need to worry about him, but he's definitely the benchmark within our race at the moment, and we want to try and learn as much, I guess, from him as we can, and also use him as kind of a guideline as to where we need to, you know, get up to speed and how much time there is to be found. Of course, still learning the track, getting very close to the walls there, and there's just so much, you know, time to be had at the moment because I still don't really fully understand the circuit. Like, I just drifted through that hairpin, although it's incredibly fun to drift the kart, it's not fast at all. So I do not recommend doing it, especially around this track. Maybe with the private kart you can get away with it, but with these karts it's all about momentum. So even though, you know, I wasn't too worried about it for this first race and just tried to learn the layout of the circuit, drifting is a big no-no if you want to go fast around any circuit with the high karts, because it's all about momentum. We actually decided to pull over to the side and let Zach through so we could try and copy his racing line. But as you can see, we just timed that totally wrong because the checkered flag came out. So there was totally no point in doing that. So we just wasted a lap there trying to follow Zach there. But that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to be behind Zach to try and learn his racing line. And by the end of this race, I think I understood where most corners, like I had the memory of where each corner was on the circuit. Not that I mastered it or anything, just I knew where the circuit went by the end of this race. And I gotta say, with like some of the impressions of the new corners, there is some very technical bits, especially through the first half of the lap. The first half, like first corners that you go through, you actually have to like ease off throttle, try to not brake, and then you gotta really, you know, thread the needle through some of the technical bits. And then you got the hairpin, of course, after that technical part. And then later on in that lap, you got that S section where there's two apexes that stick out. And I think, as Matt said, the best way to put it is someone's gonna totally eat shit if they get wrong there. So it's a part of the track that separates the men from the boys. It's a risk it for the biscuit kind of thing. And once you got used to the track, I found that it's a lot easier. But when you're first learning it, it's totally one of those, you know, areas of the track where you have to focus on and make sure you get it correctly. But that's why I love it. I love those sort of corners where you get really close to the wall, and the closer you get to the wall, the faster you can get around the circuit. So I love those type of corners. And this is us just taking a bit of a breather after our first race. Gonna have a chat to Zach, find out where we can go faster, where all the times needs to be made up, and what times we set. And as of right now, we are 1.7 seconds slower than Zach, and that is, you know, that's days ahead, you know. So we've got so much time to catch up to Zach. And I think Matt, he was about 3 or 4 tenths faster than us, so he's got a lot of time to be found as well after our only just our first race, but there's so much time to be found. So in the second race, as you can see, it wouldn't be a karting video without hitting Matt at least once. He got caught in a half spin, and this race I was trying to push the limits a bit more, and not gonna lie, I shit my pants a fair few times. And was any of that fast? Absolutely not. Although we did learn a whole lot more about the circuit, just getting more experience and time is going to help us for our last race.
So pissed. Huh? That's the first one? Second race on this track. He works here, so he's got to... I don't... Me and Matt don't though. Yeah, so we had a few other people during that race, and I guess that's an awesome compliment to get after a race. And believe it or not, I think the boss or manager wanted to get us guys for an interview to record our thoughts on what we think of the new track in comparison to the old track.
Thank you. Alright guys, I'm here with Zach, Alex and Matt. The new track. Guys, what did you think of it?
Awesome. Pretty awesome.
Yeah, very good. Awesome. Now, Alex put together a video not long ago of the old track. Alex, how do you compare the old track to the new track?
This one's got a bit more technicality to it, but it's a lot more fun, wider track, more overtaking opportunities, I'd say.
Excellent. And I see you're recording today, so we'll expect another video from you soon.
Yeah, probably.
Awesome. All right, we're gonna drop tag your channel, and you guys follow him there. But thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.
So yeah, pretty awesome to get interviewed by the boss man. They're a good bunch of people, good stuff that work here. So definitely recommend coming down to check out this place if you want to have fun with your mates.
It's weird because it's like on and off group, because you cross over the line and you don't remember where the lines were in the previous.
I mean, standing here with the work here, obviously I can see where the lines
Yeah.
I drive a lot through instinct in the field rather than looking.
So we're just exchanging information here after our second race, getting ready for our third race and final race. So this is our final crack to set as fast of a lap time as possible. Currently, because Zach doesn't get his lap time posted to the public leaderboards, we actually currently hold the lap record already, but I know I can go a whole lot faster. We are currently 7/10 slower than Zach. So Zach's still really incredibly fast around this track, and we've got a lot to learn still. So this is our final opportunity to reel in that gap and give it a red hot crack at setting a decent lap record. And there's also that opportunity that Matt could also beat our lap time as well. So we definitely do have to improve as much as we can here. We also had traffic in the last race, so it was always going to be inevitable that we didn't set that quick of a lap time as we could, but it's okay because we have a learning experience. I did a bit of a sneaky here, pulled it off to the side to let Zach through, so that way I could stay right on the back of him for as long as I could to try and learn his racing line. Seeing as he is the quickest, we have the most to learn from him, so I'm going to try my absolute best to stick with him, even though we are 7/10 slower than him per lap. It's going to be incredibly hard to stay within that kind of range where we can gauge where he is braking and taking his racing line. So we're going to try and stick with him for as long as possible until he gets away, and then yeah, it will be on our own with Matt behind us. I think Matt's staying right behind us, using us as a guide as well. So we got Zach in front of us and Matt right behind us. You're probably noticing, like, right now the tides are still a little bit cold, still getting used to the track again. Different karts have different behaviors. This one was understeery, and at first I was like, oh, I'm not going to set a quick lap time in this, but this car for me was actually a blessing in disguise, because you'll see halfway through this race I discovered something in my own driving style. It kind of forced me to change my driving style, and I'm really grateful for it because it made me learn something new, and it made me a whole lot quicker, as you'll find out soon throughout this race. And at first, I was still sliding a whole bunch. That I wasn't taking exactly the perfect racing line, as you can see anyway, but in the end, I ended up finding that the best way around the circuit at this point in time was to not take the apexes through some of the corners because of the grip levels, and that you know, trying to stick on the old racing line in some areas was actually quicker to go around some corners, because that way you keep up more momentum. Although within a couple of days time or a week's time, the racing line should be totally different, because there'll be a whole lot more rubber laid down on the circuit from people driving on the new circuit, whereas right now we have close to no grip. So it should be a lot easier to set a quicker lap time and, you know, stay on the actual, what you'd think would be the racing line. So if you want to have a crack at, you know, beating my lap time, whatever it ends up to be, definitely it should be a little bit easier because you got more grip, but I plan on coming back in the future too to set a quicker lap time. But yeah, this is just a whole bunch of fun learning, you know, a new circuit for the first time, and a great opportunity to try and set the fastest lap time overall on the public leaderboards while it's brand new. So yeah, even though I currently hold, you know, not a really quick lap time record around here already, I do expect that it should be easily beaten within a few days time, because even if I set the same exact lap, I should just have more grip due to the track evolution. I think this was the point where I had something click in my brain and I was able to drive faster with changing my driving style. As you can see, it's a whole lot more smoother going through almost every corner here, and you know, I'm not turning as tight going into the corners, trying to keep the steering wheel as open as possible, making sure whenever I do brake, I brake in a straight line. Do not brake while going through a corner. Make sure I brake in a straight line just before the corner. If I need to ease off the throttle through a corner to slow down, definitely just ease off the throttle and do not apply the brakes. And here I wasn't turning it near as much here, and I was able to keep it flat all the way through there, no lift off, maximizing the track as much as I can. And this is just where I was setting quick lap time after quick lap time. I was closing the gap to Zach, and I saw, like, I was totally focused on my driving, but I glanced up one time and saw the gap was now shrunk down to 0.05 of a second to Zach. So that just goes to show the massive improvement I found in my own driving style. So, and that's all thanks to having an understeery kart, because it taught me to stop turning as sharply and, you know, inducing more understeer than I usually would. Now this was the last lap time I managed to set, and it was the quickest, so there goes to show that I was still, you know, improving lap after lap, as my last lap was the fastest one I was managing to set, and that's even when the batteries start to die down a little bit. So even if I set the exact same lap time right at the beginning of the race, I would have been quicker just by having a more charged up battery. But as you can see, I'm just maximizing the track so much that I'm trying to hold momentum more so than focusing on absolutely nailing apexes. Even though I did get that final section pretty nailed, I was just totally focusing on the momentum, and that is the most important thing with any sort of high cut, is to just hold momentum and carry that through the next corner. So we've now wrapped up. We're about to find out our final results of where we finished on the leaderboard, and as you can see, we are less than a tenth slower than Zach now. After 3 races, we've pretty much, you know, learned the track. Definitely not mastered it yet, but we've gained so much time from when we first started. 0.08 of a second is the difference. Matt improved to half a second behind Zach as well. So there's basically, you know, nothing in it now between ourselves and Zach by the end of that race. I know at the start of the race he was quick enough to pull away, but I think mid-race when we had that, you know, click in our brain to just start driving faster, that's when we unlocked a bunch of speed. And I can't wait now that I've, you know, learned that new experience. I can't wait to come back to the circuit and, you know, use that and try to improve my lap time again. So yeah, if you guys want to come down and try and beat that lap time, it took me 3 races to set that lap time. So if you want to give yourselves the same amount of time, it's a 3-race package, I think. It was currently the fastest lap record at the time of recording it. It's probably beaten by now by the time this video goes out. So if you want to look up my racing name, it was Ricardo, spelled as in Daniel Ricciardo, just Ricardo, the name if you want to try and find my time. And yeah, I do in future, I'd love to host, you know, races here with fellow people that watch my videos. So hopefully, you know, the opportunity in the future comes that I'd be able to host some races and record that, because I'd just love to have, you know, proper Grand Prix races. I think that'd be, you know, so fun to have, and proper racing rather than just setting lap times. I actually bumped into another person as I was leaving the circuit that watches my videos and Team at Marduk's videos, I think. So that's pretty awesome to see that, you know, the community is very much active, and now that the restrictions have finally eased up a little bit, we can get back to racing, and it's just a whole bunch of fun to finally get our hands on some motorsports again. So in conclusion, the circuit is a whole lot more technical. There's a lot of fun bits in it. It's, you know, it's going to give you a challenge even if you're new or a more experienced driver with these high karts available. And also, it's a little bit longer, so you get more of a race involved. Like, it's going to take you longer to complete lap times, so therefore with those 14 laps, it's going to take longer to complete your race overall. To be exact, I think it was 4 seconds slower than the previous track, so that's just the amount of lap time that you get extra on the track. And also the track is a lot wider, so if you want to go for overtaking opportunities, it's going to be a lot easier than it was to make overtaking moves, even if it's like back markers or you're trying to race your mate for position. It's going to be a lot easier, and it should be better for racing in that kind of way. The staff did a good job of you know, making sure everyone had their hands sanitized, keeping everything clean, social distancing, like with some stickers and all that sort of stuff. So it's good to see that, and hopefully we can see some more racing in the future when F1 starts up soon, and our business can hopefully get back to normal again. Anyways guys, that's going to wrap up this video. If you like these style of videos, be sure to leave a like and let me know in the comments that you do enjoy these type of videos, and I'll continue to make them in the future. Hey guys, thanks for watching and subscribing. I'll see you all in a brand new one.